Down deep in the dungeon. You've fought your way all the way through. Now you're at the end. The treasure pile that has been locked away, guarded by monsters and traps. You finally found it. In it, there's a gleaming gem, clear as the midday sky. You look into the light as it sparkles and refracts the light from your torch. This is what you've been looking for, the item that could save your friend, the one that can bring him back, a diamond, probably about the size and clarity to return their soul back to their body. Hello, Monster Hunters, and welcome to, well, a new series. We're going to be talking about magical components. I mentioned in videos before that I want to kind of go through and talk about what gemstones can add to magical items. They're used in a lot of different spells as material components. So let's kind of go through, and today we're going to start with diamonds. Now, diamonds in American culture usually revolve around the wedding. In D&D, it's a little bit different. So in D&D, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spells that use diamonds as material components, either in dust form or in actual diamond form. Most of them are pretty related. There are two, non-detection and wish, that kind of follow a different pattern. Now let's look at the different prices of each of these. So non-detection, 50 GP of dust. Now non-detection does is it basically hides your alignment and it hides you from any scrying attempts. And then we have restoration, greater restoration, resurrection, raise dead, true resurrection, and wish. Okay, so restoration, greater restoration, these are removing ability damage, fatigue, negative levels. They're restoring you to what you used to be. Resurrection, raise dead, true resurrection, those are again restoring you to before life. They are purity of the body, undamaged, and a lot of these revolve around death. So renewal, reincarnation, these are kind of like what the diamond is talking about. If we think about it in terms of American culture and the ring represents infinity because it doesn't end, and the diamond represents renewal. So it's renewal of love through infinity. That's why you have diamond rings. Also because of marketing, but let's say positive. Let's think of the meaning behind it. So, knowing these spells, there's a pretty clear theme of renewing and coming back to your healthiest form. Non-detection, hard to say really. I think what it is when we get into it, we'll talk about it more. So let's talk about the powers. So I looked, did a little bit of research. I looked into a book called The Pocket Book of Stones. It kind of goes through the books and talks about kind of what they represent in holistic medicines, traditions. It kind of compiles it. It's not the most accurate thing I've seen. Maybe it's referring to a I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say it's not the most accurate thing I've seen because it might be referring to something that I'm not as familiar with. So, in this book, it's related to quintessence. So there's in alchemy, there's 4 elements: the fire, earth, water, air, and we're kind of familiar with those in our gaming. But there's another one called quintessence. Now, quintessence is basically the essence of human experience. So diamonds are very strongly connected to humans, or in case of D&D and Pathfinder, humanoids and their experiences, their free will. And it connects to a bunch of various chakras, the heart, the third eye, the crown, and everything above. And the main word that keeps coming up is actually intensity. Thinking about that, and we think about the resurrection and restoration spells, it's bringing you back to your most powerful form. It is intensifying your abilities. So that's one way we can use this item. We'll use it to kind of intensify our abilities. So let's go back up to the top. Magnifying magic. So this is going to be for your greater spells. Any spell that is like greater. I wouldn't say mass, because mass spells just increase the effect to multiple things. And that's not what diamonds are doing. They're intensifying. They're making it stronger, bringing it back to the strongest place. Spirit protection. This one I couldn't find a ton of things for, but if you want to use diamonds as spirit protections, it's not unheard of. Personally, I actually wouldn't. Purity. That makes sense. Diamonds, although they do come in multiple colors, the one that everyone thinks about is they think about um, just a clear diamond. So purity, you're able to see through it. And it also works with restoration, like you're getting rid of the things that you don't need. So any remove disease, neutralize poison, those are great things to represent the purity of it. If you want to use spirit protection, there's honestly, I think silver is better for this. Use silver instead. Intensity. That goes up to magnifying magic. Just anything that is more intense. And kind of like the medicine, it said, in the holistic medicine side, it says, don't wear diamonds when you have negative moods because it'll intensify them. Use it to intensify your love instead. So that connects to emotion. And like I talked about before, renewal for D&D. And I do want to talk about some other games and how they used it. And I do kind of see in Final Fantasy being related to Frost. Shiva, the summon, deals a cold-based attack called Diamond Dust, and it kind of represents like the snow falling down. It does have that great cold feel. It's pure like snow. It has a lot of overlap. So yeah, I think that is pretty viable. It's more viable than Spirit Protection, I think. And the last thing, it's used for wish magic. Diamonds sparkle. They sparkle like stars. So I think it's really connected to the value of what you hold in your heart, your wishes, your wants. Reaching the pinnacle, wishes, wants. So anything that you want to elevate, heighten spell. If you want to increase the DC of something, add a little bit of diamond to it. If you want to increase DC and spells, just use a higher spell slot when making the magic item. So for example, hold person, first level spell. So if you want to increase the DC from DC 11 to DC 12, you just multiply by 2. So 2 times 1. That's a great way to use diamonds to increase DCs on magical items. Wishes, restoration, anything that would remove poison. I feel like that's a great way to use it. Emotion, there are some mind affecting effects that you could do. Rage, I think rage is interesting. Calm emotions, charm person even. So like rage, charm person. Those could be used to with diamonds. It kind of makes sense. Like you use diamonds to make a wand of charm person, and that magical energy intensifies their feelings of friendship for you. Use a wand of rage to. I really wish rage could be cast on unwilling creatures. You just rage out a wizard so they can't cast any spells. Talk to your DM, see if they'll allow that, as I do think that's a pretty interesting way to use it. And then frost, diamond dust. Maybe make a variety, a specific subset of ice spells, or maybe use diamond dust in order to turn like fireball into a frost ball. I don't know if I like that because there are gemstones that are more reliable for like dealing cold damage. more like lapis lazuli, um, if you wanted to use that. But now, the last thing I kind of want to go over is if you're randomly determining the value of a gemstone. I always randomly determine the value of a gemstone because I think um, it kind of adds more randomness. I do like more randomness. I like it, the idea of not having anything planned out. It kind of gives my players like the sense of they need to think that I am not planning everything out for them, that I don't know if they're going to survive. I don't know what tools they have, because it gives them the opportunity to make tactical decisions like, oh, we need to run away or whatnot. What I actually calculated out is I think 3 die 20 times 500 GP is a good price for a diamond. Because you notice that for the spell components, if it's 100 GP or less, it is in form of diamond dust, which means that diamonds probably don't exist that only cost 100 GP. Minimum here is 1,500 GP for a diamond, and I think that's fine. The maximum, on the other hand, would be 30,000, which I think is fine. Because Wish and True Resurrection both require a diamond worth 25,000 GP, it makes sense that it has to be able to go up there. So this range is, I think, perfect for what you find for spells. That's going to kind of give your players the ability. Now, a lot of players want death to mean something. So because death is kind of rectified with diamonds, you can make resurrection magic as rare or scarce as you want by how rare or scarce diamonds are. They already are pretty valuable, and the fact that they're used for resurrection spells only makes them more valuable. Keep that in mind when you're using diamonds as a magical component. Alright? So, keep rolling, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a little bit rough because I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do, but please leave a like down below. Request a gem that you would like me to talk about, or request a monster that you would like me to talk about for harvesting monsters. Alright, thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, hit the bell notification, and I'll see you guys next time. Keep rolling.